So if you can have a guy that's in the audience that's yelling, I shot him, now shoot me, I shot him, now shoot me, and then that guy gets arrested for child porn charges, like he's like, what is going on here?
But there was something else going on here. Epstein was not some sort of whiz kid hedge fund manager. Epstein was playing a part. Epstein was a LARPer. Epstein was cast for a specific role, and he played it really well.
I don't necessarily think they know what's going on yet. There's a lot of weird going on with this.
I know.
None of these things make any sense to me. Like, you're telling me that this kid who's not military trained, this guy, first of all, how did he get to the roof? How come nobody was looking? How come nobody was like, there's a direct line of sight between where he's sitting and those roofs? You guys didn't check? You don't have a drone? Like, that's insane. So he's on the roof. He jumps from the roof. He jumps down 14 feet.
Charlie Kirk's sudden death seemed like a tragic accident at first, but according to Joe Rogan, there's a lot more to the story. What began as a heartbreaking report has now turned into one of the year's most puzzling and controversial mysteries. New voices are stepping in, raising even more questions about what might have really happened behind the scenes.
Coincidence. Hold on to that thought. Did you know that Charlie Kirk's father, Robert W. Kirk, was actually the architect for Trump Towers? Also, did you know that Erika Kirk won Miss Arizona USA in 2012? Don't forget, Donald Trump ran Miss America from 1996 until 2015. Seeing the correlation here? Now, not saying age difference is a big thing, but did you know Erika was 5 years Charlie Sr.? But this is where coincidences aren't. Well, this was so arranged. And there's so much more to Erika Kirk. Kind of like how she was all into basketball, didn't want to be all girly, never liked to dress up, even cut all her hair off and ended up being Miss USA. How does that happen? How do you go from sports to Miss USA? And then they meet at a Turning Point event in 2018, where she's interviewing for a job for Turning Point.
Rogan opened up about it on his podcast, saying bluntly that the official explanation just didn't add up. He highlighted several strange details that mainstream outlets seemed to overlook, like the photo of a 22-year-old man holding what appeared to be high-end outdoor equipment that looked brand new. Rogan pointed out that the gear didn't match the rough environment described in reports, which made the whole story feel off from the start.
Did you, when the Charlie Kirk thing happened, because my antennas went up about, they showed the photo of that kid, or the guy that they have, the 22-year-old, whatever. And I was almost going to be like, dude, do you think he's got the capability to do that?
Yeah, well, listen, there are people that look like that have the capability to do that.
Pretty accurate.
Nope,
No?
not hard. Not hard at all. Let me dispel that. Okay. 200 yards from a prone position with a dead-on rifle. So if you have a dead-on rifle, so you set this rifle, you set your 0 to 200 yards, right? You know how far you're going to. Is not hard at all.
He shot a lot.
You don't have to shoot a lot. So I could do it tomorrow.
If you're no, but you are experienced. If it's someone that's never, could they do it?
100%. Not
Really?
if they've never. They wouldn't know where to look. They'd have a hard time acquiring the like when you look through a scope, like with the reticle is weird. Like it's sometimes
Takes a minute.
You got to know the distance that you have to be from it to really line it up in your sights. But you could get a guy like my friend Andy Stumpf, who was a sniper in the SEALs. You could get him, and he could show you how to do it in an afternoon, and then you could hit steel at 200 yards every time you pull the trigger.
One day you could learn
Yeah.
that. Wow.
Yeah. Not that hard.
Because it feels insane to me. I'm like, that seems tough.
It seems tough. We still haven't figured out whether or not the gun that Trump had a sight on it, because we weren't sure if it had a sight on it or if this guy was using iron sights. That was 140 yards. If you shot with iron sights, that's a lot harder, because iron sights is you're lining up. So you have these two things in the back and there's one thing at the front of the barrel, and you got to line those up perfectly, and that's how you stay accurate. That is a lot harder to do.
It's like old have those, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Pistols.
Yeah,
like
pistols
you buy a
got 'em.
Glock,
Yeah.
that's what it comes with.
Right.
But this kid had a rifle with a scope. Now, here's where it gets weird. The first images of this rifle with a scope, I swear to God, it looks like he has a composite stock on it. Like it looks like a modern 30-06 rifle. So a 30-06, so that's the rifle. 30-06 is like, that looks like a very modern looking stock. I mean, it might not be. It might be just a bad resolution. It might be wood. It's hard to tell. But if you showed me that and you said, hey, this is my cousin's rifle, is this any good? I'd be like, looks like a standard bolt action rifle with like a sophisticated modern scope on it. Sure. Now, apparently, the narrative is that this is his grandfather's rifle from World War I and doesn't have a serial code.
He also mentioned that certain parts of the story had quietly been edited or even removed online, and that raised even more suspicion. Social media users immediately began digging in, analyzing every photo, every clip, every inconsistency they could find. People started questioning not just the credibility of the initial reports, but also the silence from key figures who seemed connected to the event. Then came another strange twist. Reports mentioned an older man at the scene who began shouting bizarre things right after the incident, even yelling, "I did it before suddenly acting erratically. For Rogan, this wasn't just random chaos. It looked like a deliberate distraction, something designed to confuse the public and divert attention away from what was really going on. When Rogan discussed it on his show, that short segment went viral within hours, spreading like wildfire across social media.
This is just a narrative, right?
Yeah.
We watch a guy jump off the roof, and then we supposedly find this rifle. So if you can have a guy that's in the audience that's yelling, "I him, now me, I him, now me," and then that guy gets arrested for child charges, like he's like, what is going on here?
So
and then you
weird.
find this rifle, and then you say, "Oh, he assembled it and he reassembled it." Like, okay. If I wish I was a cop, I'd sit in a room like, this story
Elon Musk didn't stay quiet either. He jumped in with one of his trademark cryptic tweets, "The truth doesn't hide forever." That single line set the internet ablaze. Fans and conspiracy watchers flooded the comments, connecting dots and rewatching Rogan's video frame by frame. Some believed Musk was hinting that he knew more than he was letting on, while others thought he was just stirring the pot. Either way, the timing was too perfect to ignore. Soon after, Musk liked a few posts from commentator Candace Owens, who had previously claimed that certain details about Charlie Kirk's case were being quietly brushed aside by major outlets. That tiny gesture added even more fuel to the fire. Within hours, hashtags about Charlie's widow were trending across social media, and Reddit threads and TikTok videos were filled with speculation. People became convinced that Musk and Rogan might be aware of something the public wasn't being told. Even mainstream media couldn't resist. They pretended to dismiss it as internet noise, yet subtly kept amplifying the story through headlines and clever phrasing that kept audiences hooked. Every attempt to fact-check the rumors only made the topic explode further. And by the time Rogan's full podcast episode finally dropped, one thing was clear. This story